Hi, this is Dr. Katie from Craig Chiropractic and Kinesiology, and in one of our last videos, we talked about the female monthly cycle, how that is broken into 4 phases: the winter, spring, summer, and fall, which of course is your menstrual cycle or your period, the follicular phase or rebuilding of that uterine lining, the ovulation, where you are actually releasing and dropping an egg, where you are most fertile at this point, and then the luteal phase, where we have not gotten pregnant at this point and the body is prepping to shed the lining of the uterus and we're starting to cycle back into the period, okay? This is the woman's monthly cycle. It usually takes about 28 days in the average female. Okay, so what we want to talk about today is something often called cycle syncing, or different people call it different things, but it's strategizing your month. Ladies, by understanding this 4 parts to your cycle, you have a great advantage. Understand that over here in your menstrual cycle, you have the lowest energy, the lowest coping skills, the greater risk of injury or getting sick. So it means that if you have big work meetings, if you have big trips and things, this is not a good time to plan them. This is the awesome time if you can to stay home, to sleep, to drink broth, teas, read a good book, okay? Now, when we start getting into spring and summer, this is where you have your max energy. You're gonna have the greatest amount of coping skills, the most energy, the most creativity, the ability to power through the toughest things, okay? This is your time to schedule those big meetings at work, schedule those family vacations and those big things. You have a big stressful confrontation coming up with somebody, or maybe you gotta meet up with relatives and you know it's gonna take a lot of energy. This is the phase where you want to schedule it in between spring and summer. This is between about approximately day 7 to day 14 of your cycle, okay? Once we get to fall, you can still do things in fall, but know that your body's starting to quiet down at this point. You're getting ready to go back into winter, your period. You're gonna be a little bit more moody here, potentially, more tired. So just take that into account. These 4 are also important if we're working out. If you want to do high intensity exercise, it's really not good to do it during the winter period. If you're going to do it at all, do it in spring and summer. And even for many females, especially if you have hormonal imbalance, I actually advise you to lay off of the high intensity exercise and do more gentle things like strength training, walking, things like that. Depends on your needs, but these are just things to keep in mind, especially if you have any hormonal imbalances or cycle problems. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below, and please share this to see if it can help any other women start to map out and strategize her month. Have a great rest of your day, guys.